There's three particular stages. You've just mentioned them briefly: empirical, systematization, mastery. Do you want to say a bit more about what those are, how Goutard sort of defines those?
When children are working at the empirical level, the dictionary definition of empirical is based on or acting on observations or experiment, not on theory, deriving knowledge from experience alone. And that is what she was saying children shouldn't keep doing if they were able to move on. The next phase for her, she described, was systematisation. She said this was to organise experience, to clarify facts so as to fill in gaps if some are found, to propose groupings of some significance, in a word, to invent sure means with which a thorough study of a situation could be undertaken. This activity will permit, instead of empirical discoveries at the level of facts, rational discoveries at the level of structures. And that's not necessarily to say that children need to go through an empirical phase to reach a systematisation, or that they are at empirical systematisation in all their maths at the same time. These are very much overlapping phases. So the next phase for Goutard to describe was mastery. And at that stage, the child was aware that every element or group of elements could be seen to potentially contain the infinite set of which it's part, and that there is a dynamic that can take us from one element of a group to any other element. And when the child had perceived that dynamic, then they had mastery of that structure. In teaching, it's not only for the child to perceive that dynamic, but to be able to use it to their advantage. And that is where children can become more flexible in their calculation. If they've reached a mastery of structure in addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, fractions, whatever, and can turn it to their advantage when calculating, they can often just make a quick transformation and see an answer. And when I understood that, it was answering the question we originally had as a school, that our children weren't flexible in their calculating. That was what children needed to be able to reach in order to have a flexibility of calculations. And because in the past I hadn't identified that as a necessary phase for them to go through, or a stage for them to reach, that is why they weren't flexible in their calculating.